World leaders have gathered in Berlin for the Libya Peace Summit. It aims to broker a ceasefire in the northern African country. 9-month-old civil war in Libya. The tensions have risen. The stakes have also risen with the closure of the East Libyan oil ports. And that's a move that has cut the nation's crude output by half. Leaders of countries backing both the internationally recognized Tripoli government and the eastern-based Commander General Haftar's administration are attending the summit. The crucial summit is being attended by the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, French President Emmanuel Macron, and the Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte. Members of the African Union's high-level committee on Libya are also in attendance. The Russian President Vladimir Putin is in Berlin for the talks. He held a meeting with his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan on the sidelines of the Libya summit. Meanwhile, Turkey, which sent its troops to help Tripoli fend off General Haftar's Libyan National Army's campaign, has slammed its European NATO allies. Turkish President Erdogan said that he expects the summit to produce some concrete results in many areas, including security and economy. He said that a United Nations supervised election in Libya will be a positive development.
Zirvesini ateşkesin tahkimi ve siyasi çözüm yolunda özellikle önemli bir adım olarak görüyoruz. Ateşkes ve Berlin zirvesiyle yeniden filizlenen umutlar kan ve kaos tüccarlarının ihtiraslarına kurban edilmemelidir. Zirvede alınacak kararlarla güvenlikten ekonomiye birçok alanda somut gelişmeler sağlanmasını bekliyoruz. Birleşmiş Milletler'in riyasetinde bir an önce Libya'da hakikaten bir seçim atmosferi içerisine girilmesi aslında olumlu bir gelişme olacaktır. Onun aksini iddia etmek yanlış olur. Ama bunun tabii sağlıklı bir şekilde olması lazım. Yoksa silahların gölgesinde bir seçim düşünülemez.
The stakes are high during the talks. The summit aims to pave the way for lasting peace in Libya. Remember, earlier summits, including the recent one in Moscow, have failed to do so. Most nations involved in the conflict are at the summit. General Haftar, who controls much of Libya, including a majority of its oil fields, has seen support, and also the Tripoli-based administration is supported by several countries. The larger outcome of the talks has been highly anticipated. The government in Tripoli controls a tiny part of the country. It is backed by Turkey. The government of national accord of General Haftar is also said to be close to Italy, among other countries. The European powers aim to stabilize Libya to control the influx of refugees from Africa and the Mediterranean, as thousands of refugees attempt to travel to Europe via sea from Libya, which lacks proper border checks. Meanwhile, Pope Francis has also offered his prayers for the success of the talks in Libya, on Libya that are being held in Berlin. Take a listen into what he said.
Oggi si svolge a Berlino una conferenza volta a discutere della crisi in Libia. Auspico vivamente che questo vertice così importante sia l'avvio di un cammino verso la cessazione delle violenze e una soluzione negoziata che conduca alla pace e alla tanto desiderata stabilità del Paese.
And residents of the Libyan capital of Tripoli and also the seat of the internationally recognized government of the National Accord say that they have little hope from the Berlin talks. Listen in to how they have reacted so far.
بالنسبة لمؤتمر برلين كان مؤتمر برلين لصالح الشعب الليبي ولليبيا مرحبتين به وكان لصالح أمور ثانية احنا مش راضيين عليه.
والله حقيقة الأمر مؤتمر برلين هو مجرد فخ أراها على من نفسي أنه هو مجرد فخ لليبيا وما أعتقدش أن نجلو منها أي فوائد.
And let's go straight across to our correspondent, Ira Spitzer, joining us live from Berlin. Ira, fast-paced developments that have been trickling in. A lot of anticipation in the air regarding those crucial talks. Let me begin by asking you for a quick update on who all have arrived so far. Do we expect General Haftar to also arrive, or has he already arrived there?
Well, some of the most powerful people in the world are in this building right behind me here. That is German Chancellor Angela Merkel's office, and pretty much all of the world leaders have now arrived, and they are taking part in those talks. We also expect and believe that the leaders of the two Libyan factions will also be here in Berlin. However, they have kept a fairly low profile so far, perhaps for somewhat obvious reasons. It is an extremely volatile and controversial situation happening right now. And I think what we see with these Berlin talks and the presence of all these world leaders is just how internationalized this conflict has become. As you mentioned there in the introduction, Turkey has recently sent troops to prop up the government of the UN-backed government of Libya, and that government really only controls basically a small area which includes the capital of Tripoli. So the Libyan government in Moscow tried to agree to a ceasefire, but the opposition leader, General Khalifa Haftar, ended up walking away from those talks. And here in Berlin, he'll now face pressure to sign a renewed ceasefire agreement. But certainly Turkey, Russia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, all kinds of foreign countries have very specific and strong interests in Libya and how this conflict plays out. So really a lot to be discussed inside and a lot of competing interests, which makes a lasting peace agreement very difficult.
Absolutely, and that's partly a reason why the Moscow talks had failed, and General Haftar also had refused to sign that ceasefire agreement. A lot of those sticking points still remain, Ira, so the next few hours will be extremely crucial when it comes to at least ironing out a lot of those differences.
Right, absolutely. And I think one crucial question, if we were to see a ceasefire, which is a very big if at this point, but a big question then would be how would this actually be monitored and implemented? And we've had some indications from the European side that European countries sound like they're willing to put monitors in place to support some sort of international peacekeeping effort in Libya. The UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson said something to that effect on the tarmac when he arrived in Berlin. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen tweeted that Europe would be involved in the implementation of a potential ceasefire. So that is certainly a looming question if this peace process moves forward. But first of all, the sides still have to get to that point, and that's what they're trying to hammer out right now in Berlin.
And we'll, of course, keep coming back to you, Ira, as and when further updates trickle in. We're going to leave it there for the moment, though. Thanks very much for joining us with that roundup of all the latest coming in from Berlin. A lot of questions, of course, that remain to be answered, but we will keep a close eye on all of that. Moving on.